Welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host, Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book, Ghost Whisperer, and this is chapter 38. So, let's get started. Chapter 38. The next morning, Ed awoke in his bedroom. He did his morning routine and walked to the family room. Ellen wasn't there. It was his first time arriving first. It disturbed him. He checked his phone for the time. He was early. Ed picked up the usual phone, and without dialing a number, a voice answered, "Hello? This is Ed. I arrived in the family room first. Normally Ellen gets here before me and orders coffee," he said. "No problem, sir. I can bring your morning coffee. Is there anything else you'd like?" "Perhaps a few pastries, whatever you have." "Of course, sir. It will be just a few minutes." The call ended. Ed hoped he hadn't overstepped. Ellen arrived, and his fears evaporated as they hugged. "Did you order coffee?" she asked. Before Ed could answer, a maid arrived with a tray. It contained the usual coffee jug, cups, plus a plate of pastries. The maid placed the tray in its usual spot, then left the room. While Ed poured coffee, Ellen pounced on the pastries. Yummy. I thought a little variety wouldn't hurt." Ellen sat on the sofa with a pastry, as Ed placed the coffee on the table in front of her. He then fetched the plate of pastries and put it between them on the table. "We shouldn't do this often, or we'll get fat," she said. "True." "Our attorneys will be here soon. The signing is at 9. "Oh, okay." They sat, sipping coffee together. At 9 o'clock, Ed and Ellen arrived at the boardroom. They sat beside each other, excited to get this task over. The two attorneys arrived. They placed copies of the agreement in front of Ed and Ellen, who signed or initialed as indicated. Ellen smiled at Ed, who smiled back at her. "Now we can proceed with the wedding," she said. "Yes, nothing can stop us now." "I have to leave for an appointment, Ed. I'll see you for lunch?" "I'm looking forward to it." They both stood and hugged. Ellen left the room. The two attorneys gathered the signed documents and left. Ed opened up his laptop to resume work on software bug fixes. He was glad there was no commute. It meant he could achieve more in less time. Ellen traveled in her SUV with her security detail to the Duwamish longhouse. There she met Ouray, one of the tribal elders. "Good morning, Ellen. Nice to see you again," he said. "Good morning. I've some things I'd like to discuss with the elders." "Then please sit down. Would you like some tea?" "Thank you, yes." They sat down on a sofa. Another elder brought out tea. Before she knew it, there were 4 elders, including Ouray. "First, I'd like to talk about Washta. She is recovering in the hospital." "Yes, the person responsible is dead. My security detail killed him. They left no trace of him to lead back to you or to Washta." "Oh my." "The villain who came to the longhouse looking for Ed. He followed Washta home and used her as leverage to force Ed to come to him." "So he was using Washta to get to Ed?" asked Ouray. "Yes, Ed was lucky he didn't get killed. I would have lost my future husband." "That was fortunate. What did you want to discuss?" "I'd like to hire Shweeb and train him to become a security guard. He'll protect Washta." "I'm sure we can arrange that. You don't have to pay him to protect his aunt. He needs to take training so that he can get licensed. I can provide some of my detail to cover until he gets his license. I already left one man at the hospital." "Oh." "And I'm thinking we can scale this up to create a tribal security detail. They can provide security for all the tribe." You plan to pay for all this security? I can afford it. I can arrange an annual endowment paid to the tribe. You would pay an individual salaries and equipment costs. Wow, that's amazing. Did you have an idea how many guards we'll need? No, I'll leave that in your hands. Schweeb helped chase the villain from the longhouse, and he took a video. His actions earned him the right to be the first. His first assignment will be to protect his aunt. Let's begin with a few. We could increase it later, said another elder. I agree. I don't know how much money we'll need, said Ahote. My head of security can help you with that. I'll also have my attorney contact you. Can you talk to Schweeb? I've not had a chance to, said Alan. Of course. Your actions do us honor. You care for the welfare of the tribe. Well, I am marrying your medicine man. That makes me a part of your tribe too, which leads me to my second item. Meanwhile, Ed sat in the boardroom, working on his computer, when Connor appeared. Hey Connor, long time no see. Hello Ed. Got time to help me? Asked Connor. Sure, what do you need? I've discovered some activity by Chinese agents. I think Noah should be informed. Oh? Tell me more. They have some agents working undercover at Microsoft. They introduced a remote backdoor into Windows via a Windows update. That's serious. They could infiltrate computers worldwide. I know, most governments and organizations use Windows. Can you access the backdoor? I'm not as technical as you. It took me a while to figure it out. Connor shared what he knew, and Ed asked questions until he understood. Let me try this on my laptop, said Ed. He tried the back door, and it worked. He was in. Oh, crap. My laptop already has it installed. I also know the names of the agents. They're working on H1B visas. That'll be useful. Ed wrote all the details. Okay, I have it all. Ed picked up his phone and called Noah Johnson. Noah Johnson, this is Ed Tanner, Diamond 940. I have more intel for you. I'll be expecting your arrival. Ed ended the call. He called the security detail. I need an SUV to take me to the CIA office. Meet you out front in 5. He ended the call and turned to Connor. I'm going to see Noah. Are you joining me? He asked. Sure. Ed rode in the back of the SUV with 2 security guards in front. They arrived at the parkade under police headquarters. He got out, and one of his detail walked with him to the Office of U.S. Public Affairs. Connor floated along beside him. Hello, Ed, said the cheerful receptionist. Ed followed her through security and into the meeting room. Connor floated in the corner, watching. Soon, Noah arrived. Hello, Ed. What have you got for me today? He asked. I have intel of Chinese agents. They're working inside Microsoft. They installed a backdoor in Windows via the Windows Update feature. Whoa, that sounds serious. Let me bring in one of our techs on this. Just a minute. Noah made a call, and soon another person arrived. Ed Tanner, meet Brian. Brian, meet Ed, said Noah. Ed repeated what he said to Noah, and got a similar response from Brian. If this is true, computers worldwide are at risk. Can you show me the back door? Asked Brian. I tried it on my own, and it worked. If you can fetch a couple of Windows laptops, we can try it here. Brian exited the room and returned with 2 laptops. Soon, Ed showed the back door to Brian. It worked. Brian swore. I must perform a binary analysis and track down the back door. This could take time, said Brian. And I'll have to bring in the FBI Cyber Crime Division. Then we'll reach out to Microsoft, said Noah. I have one more intel for you. I have the names of the Chinese agents. They're working on H1B visas. Hold that thought, Ed. Brian, please take your laptops and begin your analysis. This is your top priority. Yes, sir. Brian left the meeting room. Okay, Ed, now tell me the name. Ed gave Noah the names of the Chinese agents. Thank you, Ed. You've done your country and the world a huge service, said Noah. Be careful in apprehending the agents. They might cause serious damage. Understood. And please instruct Brian to search beyond this back door. They might use this to cause a global outage. I will. We'll have many people working on this soon. I'm going to experiment with some port blocking on my home router to block the backdoor access. If I have any luck, I'll let you know. You do that, Ed. Soon, Ed left the CIA office. Connor followed him. I think that went well, said Connor. You deserve all the credit. You got the intel. Well, I visited Redmond and floated around looking over people's shoulders. You scored big time on this one. The security guard walked nearby but ignored Ed's talking to himself. They knew about his talking with spirit. Ed returned to the SUV and went home. Connor floated away. Ed returned home about the same time as Ellen. They met in the entrance hall and hugged. Hello, Ed. How's it going? She asked. Good, thanks. I just passed on some intel to the CIA from Connor. We've not seen him recently. He was in Redmond, and he bagged some Chinese spies. You won't get targeted by the Chinese. We don't want to fight off another group, asked Ellen. No, I just passed the intel to Noah. No one knows of my involvement. Good. Let's avoid trouble for a bit. Understood. Did your tux arrive? She asked. I don't know. I just returned. Ellen turned to the security guard who stood near the metal detector. Did the tailor drop anything off? Yes, Miss Morgan. They took the tux to his room. Excellent. Ed, perhaps you could double-check it fits. Tomorrow we're going out to an event. Okay. Ed left for his room. He found the tux in his closet. When he tried it on, it fit perfectly. He also had several pairs of shoes and some bow ties to match. Ed met Ellen in the family room a few minutes later. She raised her eyebrows, an unspoken question. It fits perfectly. Good. What should we have for dinner? Do you like soup? He asked. Ellen smiled. I'll arrange for soup. Good. I'll go put in some more work on software bug fixes. See you later. They hugged and kissed before he left for the boardroom. He enjoyed his short commute. Ouray was feeling improved. He got out of bed to visit the washroom. He moved slowly, as expected. His doctor arrived as he was getting back into bed. The doctor checked his vitals. Officer Ouray, you've recovered well. I'm clearing you to return home. You should rest at home for a few days before you return to work. Okay, thank you, doctor. A CIA case officer will arrive soon to drive you home. I'll send in a nurse to help you dress. The doctor left the room. The room lacked a TV or reading material. He had no clue where his phone was. Soon, a nurse arrived with his clothes. They were cleaned and pressed. Ouray sat on the side of the bed and dressed with her help. The nurse handed him his phone. We turned off your phone for security reasons. Please keep it off until you're told it's okay to turn it back on. Understood. A CIA case officer arrived with a wheelchair. The case officer pushed Ouray in the wheelchair out of the room. They exited the clinic, and he sat in the back of a black SUV. The case officer drove him to his home. When they arrived, he escorted him inside. Here is your weapon. You can turn on your phone after I've left. Remember that you didn't meet Officer Rees. You're off sick with the flu. The case officer handed Ouray his gun. Thank you, said Ouray. The CIA case officer left, closing the door behind him. Ouray looked around his living room. Someone had cleaned it. He found the kitchen in a similar condition. His refrigerator had fresh food in it. Someone liked him. Ouray sat on a chair in the kitchen and turned on his phone. He discovered it was fully charged. He called Ed. Ed was just about finished working on a software bug fix. It wasn't a hard one, but a customer had marked it as urgent. Then his phone rang. "Hello?" asked Ed. "Ed, this is Ouray. The doctor cleared me and they drove me home." "That's quick. Do you have all you need? I could send over some food." "No, I've got that covered. They cleaned my home and restocked the refrigerator." "Makes sense. They're thorough. So you're resting at home for a few days?" "I guess so. Seems I have an acute case of flu. If you need anything, just call." "Thank you. I'll be fine now." "I'll tell Ellen you're home. We're arranging our wedding soon. I hope you'll attend." "I won't miss it." "Okay. Rest easy," said Ed. Ed ended the call and returned to his work. The next morning, Ed awoke in his bedroom. He did his usual morning routine and walked to the family room. Ellen was there and they hugged. "Coffee?" asked Ellen. Ed smiled. She handed him a mug of the elixir. "Tonight we're going out. Be ready in your tux at 6:30. 6:30, got it. Hey, I have questions about the wedding," said Ed. "You do?" Ellen's face had a worried expression. "I mean, for a Duwamish wedding, do I need a best man? Do you have a maid of honor? Stuff like that." "Oh!" Ellen let out a sigh. "I thought you had second thoughts." "Never. I'm unsure how to prepare. I talked to the elders about the ceremony. We have everything covered. It's up to you if you want a best man. It's going to be fun," he said. "Okay, I'll give some thought to a best man. Do we need rings? Is there a honeymoon?" "I got all that covered. After the wedding, we'll take the corporate jet down to Antigua. I have a yacht that I've not seen yet, and we're going for a cruise away from any Russians or mob bosses." "Cool." "Uh-huh," she said with a smile. "I've got some new outfits for the trip. The captain reports they're provisioned and ready." "Awesome." Later that day, the doctor released Washta from hospital. Her security detail drove her home in the back of an SUV. They escorted her inside her home. "Thank you. I can manage now," said Washta. "Yes, ma'am. We'll be guarding the perimeter of your house." The security guards went outside and set up sentry. Nothing would harm this old lady. Ellen's orders. When a billionaire orders something, it gets done. Schweeb arrived soon after. The guards challenged him for ID before letting him through. He knocked on the door. A frail-looking Washta opened the door. "Hello, Auntie," said Schweeb. "Come on in. How are you doing?" Schweeb walked inside as Washta closed the door. "Auntie, I've got a new job. I'm getting trained to be a security guard." "That's nice. I could have used you a few days ago," said Washta with a chuckle. "Ahoti told me. They're starting a tribal security detail. I'm the first one. Once I'm licensed, I get a regular paycheck." "That will help your family a lot." "I know. I start my training on Monday." "Let's have some tea. Can you kindly put the kettle on for me?" Schweeb worked on preparing tea while Washta sat in her armchair. She patiently listened to him jabber on about how excited he was. Only she knew it was because of her attack he had a job. She lacked the energy to point this out and didn't want to deflate his enthusiasm. At 6:30 that evening, Ed arrived at the entrance hall dressed in his tux. Ellen arrived soon after. She wore an evening gown with a jacket over the top. "Wow, you look amazing," said Ed. "You look pretty good yourself. Let's go have some fun." They exited the mansion and entered the SUV. Their detail drove them to the Seattle Opera. Ellen hadn't told Ed where they were going. It was a surprise. They stopped outside. A security guard stepped out and checked around before opening their door. "You're clear to disembark," he said. Ed and Ellen stepped out of the SUV. They walked along a red carpet into the entrance. The security guard followed at a discreet distance. "So the opera, huh?" asked Ed. "Yes, we support the arts with various endowments. I'm looking forward to this evening." A young woman greeted Ed and Ellen and handed them programs. Then she escorted them up to a private box. The security guard followed and stood outside the box. Ed recalled the assassination of Abraham Lincoln. He was glad to have someone guarding them. A table with snacks and beverages sat at the back of their private box. The private box contained 2 rows with 4 seats in each row. They sat in the front row. Their private box was positioned slightly back from the orchestra pit, about 3 floors up. "This is something special," said Ed. "Yes, it is. Do you like it?" "Oh, yes. We can see everything from up here." They should start soon. Ed examined the program to better understand what they were in for. Fortunately, tonight it was in English. Soon the house lights dimmed. Then the orchestra played a haunting melody. Ed held Ellen's hand as they watched the curtain raise. Ed was committed to supporting his fiancée no matter how good or bad it was. A couple walked on stage together. They sang a duet. The male's voice was deep while the female had more range. Ed found it quite pleasant to the ear. Then Ed noticed someone moving in the back of the stage behind a tree. "Ellen, who's that?" asked Ed, pointing. "Where?" "Behind that tree." "I don't see anyone." Uh-oh. Ed realized what it was. Not only that, the someone had noticed Ed pointing at them. "Ellen, did you know this theater is haunted?" No, don't look at it. We came for the opera," she said. "I'll try, but I think it's too late." Well, that's the end of chapter 38. And next episode we have chapter 39, which is the last chapter in the book. Ed meets a ghost at the opera. Ed sends invites, and the wedding day itself. See you next episode.